Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I wanted to recap the Vikings' 24-21 loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers as we are getting more news in right now. Brian O'Neill is set to get an MRI on his knee later tonight, so that's obviously not good news for us Vikings fans. So coming up, just want to recap the loss, give you guys more thoughts on the offense struggling, just the offensive line not playing too well, and then it's top to bottom, just them not being good enough today. And even though you had a chance late in that game, you really did not deserve a chance to win that. I thought the Steelers just kind of handed you an opportunity late in that one. But overall, just a very, very bad day. Injuries, the performance, just everything awful for us Vikings fans. But let me ask you guys this here first. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. Vikings are 2-2. It feels like we're 0-4. It feels awful right now. But let me ask you guys this. Can the Vikings make the playoffs? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. You guys let me know how you're feeling. 2-2. Got a really brutal schedule after the bye. If you're going to want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to beat a lot of good football teams. And obviously we're not feeling too good right now, but as it stands right now, 2-2. Browns next week. Will the Vikings make the playoffs? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. So I think the biggest storyline of the game today was the offensive line, and the quarterback play was not good whatsoever. And I don't care about the injuries. The one thing that bothers me so much with this offensive line, they have to be the worst unit in the NFL when it comes to picking up stunts and picking up twist concepts. I don't care if it is a third-string defensive lineman running a twist or a stunt, whatever it is. The Vikings just can't pick it up. And it wasn't just today against the Steelers. This has been a theme throughout the entire season. When these defenses, when they run creative, pressure looks where they're twisting, stunting on the defensive line, the Vikings offensive line just can't pick it up. It doesn't matter if it's Donovan Jackson, Christian Darrisaw, Justin School, Michael Juergens. It doesn't matter who's in there. The Vikings have yet to be able to, at least be a good team and a good offensive line when it comes to picking up those concepts. And also, I'm pretty sure the Vikings out of their last 6 games have been sacked 3+ times. I don't know if that's just a Kevin O'Connell stat. I don't know if that's an offensive line stat or a quarterback stat. My best guess would be it'd be a combination of the 3. But clearly the offensive line's not good enough. And what's so scary is you got your ass handed to you by a Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line, which is good. Like, I'm not saying this was like, the Panthers or the Saints D-lines coming into, Dublin, Ireland and just kicked your ass up front. Like, this is a good Steelers defensive line. But what was so frustrating with the offensive line in that game, and, there's really no way to control this, like Brian O'Neill getting hurt, nothing you can do. But the Vikings, every single true passing down, they had to put a tight end or a running back on TJ Watt's side. Every single time. Now, TJ Watt never ended up getting home, but a big reason for that because the Vikings were just chipping and helping on his side over and over again. And when you do that, that just kind of puts the offense behind the 8 ball because then that guy who is set to chip TJ Watt or, set to just, give an extra blocker to him. They can't go out there in the passing game. It's tough to run, more quick concepts when one of your guys has to be in line helping out TJ Watt. So, it was so funny. I felt confident about Brian O'Neill going against TJ Watt. And then right away, once Justin School was out there, I'm like, all right, this is over. That is just a matchup nightmare for the Vikings. And it was Justin School going against TJ Watt. So you have to chip them. You have to put somebody over there. But overall, the offensive line was just flat out horrendous today. Listen, I thought Wentz wasn't that good either. Obviously, I know the raw numbers probably look decent, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the guy was just holding on to the ball way too long. Couldn't get set in the pocket. But again, I don't know if that's also Wentz looking so fidgety in the pocket. Is that just like a result of 1 bad offensive line play, but also 2, Kevin O'Connell just having these long developing plays over and over again? Look at what the Steelers did today. Aaron Rodgers, I'm pretty sure, was 18-22, just over or maybe 200 yards on the dot, had a touchdown. But if you take away that one DK Metcalf 80-yard slant he took to the house, Rodgers was 17-21, 120 yards, just kind of dinking and dunking his way up the field, playing a little ball control. Now, obviously, that's a lot easier doing that with a guy like Rodgers, but the Steelers showed you it. They showed you how to run a quick game. And I just wonder with these quarterbacks for the Vikings where it just seems like everybody kind of gets nervous in the pocket. Obviously a bad offensive line play, but it's also with these long developing routes. I'm sure Wentz is thinking in his head, all right, I got to wait 3 seconds for these deep in-breaking routes. But also I know pressure's coming in 2.5 seconds. And then these guys just start almost playing mental gymnastics with themselves. And that's why today offensively, it was flat out horrible. You take away a couple of plays, you take away, that Jordan Addison, which also, by the way, that Jordan Addison should have been touchdown to make it 24-21. Carson Wentz, that was one of the worst throws of the day. Addison was wide open, and it wasn't like something where Addison came open late. No, you saw from the quarterback's lens, Addison was going to be wide open right away. This dude just throws a duck in the air. Addison has to kind of retreat back to it. Then he had to get himself going again. He kind of slipped a little, but there was no excuse for that not to be a walk-in touchdown, and maybe that changes the game. Like, then Addison walks in with 2:40 remaining. Vikings are, still have a timeout in their back pocket. Maybe they're able to, just have more time on that last game-winning drive, but that was a bad miss. And just overall, it just wasn't good enough. I will give Wentz some credit, though. He did stick in the pocket tough. He made a couple of big-time throws, but he was just careless with the football, and just that was the Carson Wentz experience. That's why he's a backup quarterback. And I'll give you guys my thoughts on the whole JJ Carson Wentz thing, and then we'll talk about the defense here in a little bit. But I do quickly want to say thank you to everybody who has hit that subscribe button. Crossed over 62,000 subs today during a watch party, so seriously, thank you guys so much. I have a blast. I love my job. I love covering the Vikings, even during the dark times that we are in right now. But I love what I do, and you guys make it so much more enjoyable. And I understand we ask you guys to subscribe a lot to the channel, as you guys hear a dog chewing a chew toy in the background. But we ask you guys to hit that subscribe button a lot. So I just appreciate everybody who does take a time out of their day to watch us, and then when we ask you guys to subscribe, we appreciate you guys doing just that. So seriously, thank you guys so much. I feel like I've formed a relationship with a lot of you guys that watch this show every single day, and it doesn't go unnoticed. All of you guys commenting, I try to get back to most of you, but just the support on the channel has been absolutely fantastic. So just want to take a quick second here. Thank you guys. I know it's probably annoying to hear us ask for subscribers all the time, but it really does help us out here. We're a company at Chat Sports. We're trying to grow. We're trying to get better year over year. So you guys just doing the little things like liking the video, commenting your thoughts, and subscribing, it really does help. I know it's a little corny. I know it's a little cheesy, but it really does go a long way here. So, again, thank you guys so much. 62K. And if you aren't subscribed, change that. Subscribe today. But I think the J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz debate, flat out throw it out the window. It is over. Now, obviously, with Wentz losing today, I think that put the nail in the coffin. But even if the Vikings somehow came back and won that game, I thought it was pretty obvious this is J.J. McCarthy's job, because I would have needed to see a seismic difference between Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy. Wentz, honestly, would have probably had to go 303 today, play a perfect game, do the same thing against, the Cleveland Browns next week, but he didn't. He played bad. That's who Carson Wentz is. Careless with the football, kind of has this reckless gunslinger mentality, and he's just a backup quarterback. You expect your backup quarterback to go 500 if you're a good football team, and that's what Wentz has done so far. Now, hopefully he can beat the Browns next week. I will say, a little early preview to that Browns game, if that offensive line is beat up, and they probably will be, realistically, you're going to be without Brian O'Neill and Ryan Kelly until week 7, if not past that. I could see us getting really bad news on Brian O'Neill eventually at some point, but you're going to be with 3 backup offensive linemen. Browns, even though they're a terrible football team, they got an elite front 4. Their defensive line, Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, they just got dudes up there, and that could be a very tough matchup for the Vikings offensive line. So I'm not really feeling too confident about that game, but I think it's also guaranteed that week 7 that we see J.J. McCarthy back out there, because let's just say for some reason we lose next week to the Browns. You're probably not making the playoffs. You fall to 2-3 with the Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens, Commanders, Packers, Bears. Just no more gimmies for the year. So the goal of the year should be to develop JJ and develop that connection with Jefferson. And honestly, if we're thinking big picture, clearly this team is banged up. It's so tough to evaluate the 2025 Vikings, because we don't know what this team is. All the injuries, and I hate pulling the injury card, but it's just so true in football, especially when you lose, you're without Van Ginkel and Cashman today. That's your second and third best player defensively. You're without 3 starting offensive linemen. You're on your backup quarterback. You don't even have Aaron Jones there. You don't even have C.J. Ham there. You're missing probably 8 of your top 25 most important players. It's tough to win games. So I guess if I want to take a positive view here, and we can close it out with some positivity. 1, the Vikings are banged up. 2, you had a backup quarterback playing. Carson Wentz was terrible. You're 2-2. Just go handle business against the Browns. You move to 3-2. And then hopefully after the bye, you got C.J. Ham back. You got Aaron Jones. You hopefully will see about Brian O'Neill, but you probably have Donovan Jackson back. Ryan Kelly, let's just pray for the best and hope for the best that his concussion situation isn't too serious. But then you'll have Van Ginkel for sure back. You'll have Cashman back. And then you got J.J. McCarthy coming. So what if the Vikings, listen, guys, we also talked about so much as fans that we don't want to peak during the season and we want to peak later on in the year. This is what you kind of got to go through. Eagles last year were 2-2. The Vikings, when they made the title game in 2017, they were 2-2. So I understand it feels tough. It sucks right now. There's no doubt about it. But I still got faith in this team to turn it around. But it starts with the head coach. And I'm still a massive believer in Kevin O'Connell. Especially today, I'm sure when you go back and watch all 22, there's just going to be receivers running wide open, and one's just missing him not having time. But, KOC's just got to be better. That's about it. It was just a depressing loss, a very, very, very depressing loss. But, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll have video coming out tomorrow morning here on the channel. And just thank you guys so much for all your support. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.